Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Cena Podcast here on the Monkey Caviar Podcast Network. I am Tiny, your host. With me, as always, Adam Levy. Adam, how are you tonight?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I am not bad. Not bad at all.
Good to hear.
Before we get started on the preacher business, I got some Monkey Caviar business to attend to. We have some new podcasts coming online starting next week. Tuesday evenings at 11 p.m. we will be doing Fantasy Monkeys. That is my fantasy league, fantasy football podcast, which I guarantee you will be entertaining, if not absolutely uninformative. Yeah, we're going to try to give advice, but it's all from guys that really suck at fantasy football. So, take it what it is.
Take it with a grain of salt.
Right, it's going to be what it is, but it should be a good time. We also have an American Horror Story podcast coming up this fall with Melody and Elvis are going to do that for us. So I'm really looking forward to that. One of our friends out there, Tammy Parker, she's a big American Horror Story fan, so she's excited that we're going to do a podcast. So I might sit in if I can pay attention to it, but I don't ever watch it.
I've never watched it either.
Also coming this fall, yours truly and Judy Sunshine will be talking Survivor. I can't wait. I love Survivor. It is my favorite show. It is my obsession. And I've seen every season like 3 times. It's ridiculous.
I didn't realize Survivor had rewatchability value.
It doesn't.
Oh, okay.
No. The only reason it's just I rewatch it only because there are certain aspects of the strategy game that I like to pay attention to more so than competitions.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like when I rewatch it, I fast forward through the competitions till they just watch the strategy part.
Okay. So you get rid of all that competition bullshit and just watch the game.
Right. I do the same thing with Big Brother.
Okay.
So
makes sense.
Ridiculous obsessions. And finally, a 4th show coming up. Unnamed, me and Adam here are going to do a little comic book show, and we're going to pretty much break down probably some trades for a while. We might go back and do an old series. We definitely want to do Transmetropolitan at some point.
Oh yeah.
Preacher is we do the Preacher show, so we don't really have to do that one. I would like to do Midnight Nation.
See, I haven't read Midnight Nation. I'll have to go.
Midnight Nation is a pretty fun book. American Gods I'd like to do. And we are going to start with Rising Stars.
Yes. I actually just started rereading it again.
Yeah, it's really good. One of my favorite series that Steve ever got me into was Rising Stars, right along with Preacher. So
yeah,
I'm really looking forward to that. That might be, we might break that one into a couple of different shows. I don't know that they're going to be weekly. They may be bi-weekly, monthly. We don't know. We'll talk about it, and we got a couple of weeks here. But we'll definitely go right after the finale. After our finale show, we'll go the next week to keep you on schedule.
Yeah.
So with that done, I have announcements, man. We're like a business. Right? We're getting there.
Yeah.
We have Preacher episode 8. And let me tell you what, I am as happy as a guy with food court options after this episode.
I love the food court battle cry.
It's food court, food court, food court.
Well, just that guy charging in by himself screaming food court. Was that was Clive?
If you want to leave us a comment this week and you hashtag it food court, we will truly appreciate your comment. So yeah, let's get to it. We opened in Vale, and I was like, what does Vale have to do with anything? We've never heard of Vale before. And here's a family on a ski lift, and it's so wholesome. And we hear that one person couldn't make it because of their disgusting job.
Yeah.
And then the cable breaks, and they plummet to their death.
Yeah. Yeah. It turns out it was the Kincannon family vacation ski trip to Vail, Colorado that ended tragically.
Odin ditched that like the Final Destination kids getting off the plane.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was really just work that kept him busy, or they didn't want him there because maybe he's the black sheep of the family. Especially seeing how he loves the sound of slaughter, how he just sits there and listens to the slaughterhouse floor. Maybe the family really didn't like him.
Maybe not, and I don't know that I'd like him. I mean, he's creepy.
I mean, although he had a kid, so apparently somebody had to like him.
Well, or money.
That too.
You know, there's money and power, very, very attractive qualities. And, you know, Ross Perot, the guy that married Anna Nicole Smith. I mean, there's a worldwide.
This is true.
So ugly dudes can get laid if they got money.
Yeah.
When you're ugly with no cash,
then that's a problem.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
So
this scene explains the flashback from a few episodes back with Jesse's father.
Right, where Jesse was stealing the ashtray from Ken Cannon's while his dad was in there. We didn't know what his dad was doing. Well, apparently Odin was standing there with some intestines going, you know, who's who? Yeah. Cow or daughter?
Yeah,
that's really the debate you want to have, cow or daughter.
Yeah. I mean, and here's the worst part is I hope he didn't, you know, send that cow back out there because how would we know that there weren't human intestines in that mess of stuff he sent out to the slaughterhouse floor?
Right? You don't know what's in your hot dogs, folks.
You know, there may have been, you know, packs of of Kincannon meat going out there that was actually Kincannon meat.
It was oh man, I can't think of it now. It's very Titus Andronicus kind of thing. Sorry, hey, Shakespeare. So yeah, he says he opened them up, no spirit inside, no soul, and he needs John Custer to denounce God. And that is what the young Jesse saw when he looked in there. So, all right, that would kind of give you a messed up perspective.
Yeah, I mean, you see some crazy old guy covered in blood, holding intestines, you know, a dead cow on the floor, crates of bodies. Yeah, that's gonna leave a mark on any kid.
It will. And speaking of leaving a mark, like my Facebook is blowing up right now on people leaving comments. So hi everybody that's watching. Missy, I know you are because you're leaving message after message. Hi guys. We love that you're watching. So way better opening than last week.
Yeah. Yeah, again, it kind of started seeming to come out of nowhere with the ski trip, but then once we got to the end and once we got back to, you know, the flashback with Jesse at least and saw what happened on the other side of that conversation, yeah, it makes a lot more sense now. And it kind of a payoff.
Back to a nice opening, which last week's was a little thin, but I'm thinking next week's is going to be pretty bitching because I believe we're going back to Ratwater.
We are. The preview for next week's episode showed the cowboy briefly, so we know we're getting something.
Yay, Ratwater.
Yep.
All right. So the first of the Kin Cannon Meat and Packing men make their initial invade on the church, and they get their asses kicked, weapons taken, and no word of Genesis used whatsoever.
And to top it all off, Jesse was drunk off his ass at this point and still managed to beat the shit out of these guys. Well, one of the guys said, he took my bat, you know.
Said we got off a few shots, but he was too fast. He came out of nowhere.
Yeah, so, no Jesse, no Cassidy, no Tulip, just a drunk preacher in the church beating the crap out of meat packers.
And they show it in a very through the stained glass window. All you can see is a random shot here and there.
Yeah.
They don't go into all the action sequence that it could have been because I'm sure, I don't know how it would have taken a month to film it like the airplane scene with Cassidy. So,
yeah.
All right. We understand for time. You did it cute and it paid off. Jesse's drunk asking God to bring Eugene back. And we find that the road to heaven is paved with good intentions, but the road to hell is paved with kitty litter.
Yeah, I mean, with the exception of the very end of last episode, this is the first time we've seen Jesse show any kind of remorse about what happened to Eugene. You know, the end of last episode, you see him tearing up the floorboards in the church, but that was about it. Now you see him, and I guess this is probably a good part of why he was drunk in the church that night.
It makes sense. He was, he's feeling bad about what he'd done.
Yeah, between that and Cassidy, I think, he's kind of got some guilt going on there. And you kind of hear part of it in a conversation that happens a little bit later on. But yeah, so he asks God to bring him back, and all of a sudden, he gets
Eugene returns.
He gets an idea to go look in the floor again, and sure enough, Eugene starts digging himself out of hell.
It sounded like remember when Kirk Gibson hit that home run in the championship of the Dodger game, right? And the crowd goes friggin' wild. That's exactly what it sounded like in this house when Eugene came out of there. We're screaming, yeah, Eugene's back, all right. And then the only bad part about that scene, and I hate to even bring something up so small, but the dirt did not stick well to his prosthetic at all.
No,
It
no, it didn't.
horrible.
Yeah, you got to do work with what you got.
I understand, but that was the only complaint I had was that, oh my God, the prosthetic, and it took me out of it so bad that I was just like, oh, that looks so crappy.
Yeah.
But Eugene comes back and he's thirsty, and Preacher proves a point in America that there's always one straw in a drawer somewhere.
Yes.
And no matter what house you live in, you can find a straw in a drawer somewhere.
Yeah. And if Jesse was really feeling bad about Eugene, he should have given him some ice water because he came out of hell, damn it.
Tap water, not even a bottle. I get bottled water.
Yeah, and drop an ice cube in there for the boy.
Right, a little chill. Get him a beer. I mean, he kind of deserves it.
You think so? He spent a couple days at least in hell.
You dug your way out of hell with your hands.
Well, he said it wasn't that far down.
It wasn't that far, but it was crowded.
It was crowded, yeah.
It was crowded. Yeah, I would imagine it so. Especially with the goings on in a certain Ohio this week. Crowded indeed.
Yes.
All right, so Odin tells his plans to put, we're going to put the meat factory over here and the cows over here and the slaughterhouse right there, and we're going to put in a food court.
Food court. Oh man, that gets people excited.
That's what you want, a boss.
Yeah,
he's going to give you chimichangas and sushi and all that, but first you got to knock that church to the ground.
You're not getting any of that until Jesse's out of there and that church is demolished.
So while this is happening, Jesse places a call to share fruit, and I don't think that was smart, since it turns out that we find out right there that Eugene is pretty much a hallucination of the preacher's mind.
Yeah, actually, I had a thought about that. I mean, initially when I first realized what was going on, yeah, my first thought was, okay, hallucination. But as I started thinking about it a little bit more, I'm not sure if it was just a hallucination.
John Wayne.
No.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Genesis.
So you're thinking Genesis came out and was
not so much came out,
the embodiment of, or projected, let's say,
yeah,
the embodiment of our space.
Yeah, I mean, in the comic books, and this isn't gonna give too much away, but the one way that Jesse was able to communicate with Genesis was when he was in an altered state, and being drunk off his ass would certainly count as an altered state.
Okay.
So that's great. I'd like to think that that's what it was, but I don't think we'll ever know for sure.
Could have just been drunk hallucination in his mind playing tricks on him. It could have just
been a drunk hallucination, triggered by his guilt for sending an innocent kid to hell.
Right. And during it, he admitted that, using the power is cheating.
Yeah.
And that he's not the judge nor jury of anyone. And that, only God can do that. And
he decides he's going to give Genesis back.
Right. All good in the hood.
Yeah.
So let's cut to something happy. Tulip's picking out a dog.
Yeah.
This is such a great scene. She doesn't want any particular dog. She finds the one she wants, and that is Brewski. And Brewski is the chosen dog, and all is happy in the world. Tulip got a dog. How sweet.
Yeah, I was,
Don't go ahead of me yet.
I'm not going to go ahead, but
on this.
It just seemed very out of place with everything else going on in the episode. You've got this battle for the church, and then there's Tulip, at a dog ranch, looking at puppies, and then it cuts back to the town.
Yeah, it cuts back to Emily, and she's doing her hair, and Miles shows up as he does. And
yeah, that guy.
Miles is. What's that?
You almost think that guy just lives there with as often as he's there.
Right, he is there. He's on the daily because he's trying to hit it, and I get that. And
the guy washed her fucking sneakers, man. No,
you don't wash another person's sneakers
unless you're trying to get laid.
I don't. Yeah, I won't even wash the girlfriend's sneakers. I don't give a shit. No, wash your own fucking shoes.
Yeah.
So, anyways, he is the one that breaks it to her that they got a bonding agreement, kind of. And they're going to tear that church down. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And she, being mother of the year, leaves her children with him and goes off to the church where there's gunplay involved.
Yeah. And the whole thing about the binding agreement, it was a verbal agreement between two people with no witnesses. I mean, I don't know how binding that is. But apparently Miles did some digging into this and has come to the conclusion that it's very binding. Yeah.
Back to the 1800s when people were still property, you could make a deal or a bet with man, and that was binding shit.
Oh, all right.
There's some people that I owe millions of dollars for saying, I bet you $1 million the Vikings make the playoffs. Or, yeah, so I'm really in debt. And so when we start our Patreon, please, give us money.
There you go.
We're not there yet. We're not asking you for money yet.
Not yet. That's coming.
All right. So back to the church. And Donnie's leading the charge in his general's outfit for no fucking good reason whatsoever.
I mean,
he looks great.
Maybe he's thinking, battle, I've got to dress for the part.
Okay, but
we're going to war with the preacher. I might as well look the part,
Yeah, if you're fighting in the 1800s, sure.
Yeah, exactly.
So Jesse turns out to be a hell of a sniper as well as a hell of a biter.
Yes. Yeah, just popping shots off, and then
hats. I wrote hats, bats, and a Molotov cocktail for the bulldozer.
Yeah, exactly. Jesse was gearing up for war there. He was
doing a pretty good job.
He was a one-man wrecking crew.
That was like Barry Pepper and Saving Private Ryan sniper tower action right there.
Yeah, and let's not forget poor Clive in this scene.
Clive makes the last charge of a desperate man,
shouting "Food court, food court,
food court." And walks back with his dick in his hand.
Literally.
Now, I realized when the moment he turned the corner around the bulldozer, what he had in his hand.
Well, I love that everyone's cheering as soon as he comes walking back. Everyone's like all happy that Clive's coming back.
Like, he shot off my dick. It doesn't hurt that bad.
For a guy that just had his dick shot off, he was very calm.
Remarkably, obviously shock had set in because he was cradling his little guy. Look at that little fella right there.
I love the little tiny ice chest. They put it in later.
And then dropped it on his junk. Yeah. Or his tooth hole, sorry.
Yeah, but that sucked all the air out of the room right there when he comes walking back with his dick in his hand.
Yeah, so Root shows up right as Clive is coming back, and Jesse shouts for the agents, and Kid Cannon asks who the fuck the Asians are. Who are the Asians? They're the ones that are making your Oriental food in your food court.
That's right. They're bringing the sushi.
They're also making the pizza. Sorry, I know that was. I'm over the line again. Oh, there's Missy again. Look at comments all over.
Nice.
So Preacher asks for the agents, and Fior and DeBlanc show up with the case, and it's time to get their goodies in the church.
Yeah, I love that even though he had told them to stay away from him, they were allowed to at least get that close to him, but they couldn't come into the church.
So he has to use the word of Genesis on him to let him in. Come in.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, it's turning into a full-on barbecue cookout outside where families are showing out, and Outlash is using the meat slicer to make a sandwich. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I did notice the meat slicer.
It took me slicer out there.
It took me a second to figure out what was going on, but yeah, once I saw her working, then I'm like, it's a fucking deli slicer.
Oh my God, I love Outlash. I hope she gets in the uniform soon. It would make my day.
I mean, yeah, it's a good old tailgating party going on at the church there. There's gunplay, there's bulldozer fires, there's meat, there's barbecue and beer. What more could you ask for?
Mustard on that sandwich.
There better be.
And Root is very despondent over the missing Eugene, which is quite a departure for a good old. We have said from the very beginning the character that has changed more than anyone, especially even Tulip, is Root.
Yeah, the fact that this Root has never shown any kind of emotion towards his son, be it in the books or anything like that. The show, you see a lot more of kind of like him being a father, which was never ever a part of the books. And this time, this is the first time you even see him show any kind of concern for Eugene. I mean, last episode he showed up saying, "Hey, has anybody seen my son?" But now you see him looking like you said, despondent. He looks a little upset that his son's missing.
All right, here's theory, and it may be a bit of a spoiler for some people. So earmuffs. I don't know what to tell you.
We need a spoiler sign that we can put up. And then
I there's no way I can talk about Root without talking about what eventually happens to him in the comic. And if that happens, I think it happens in the next 2 episodes. And I'll tell you why I think that. Because I think if he finds out what Jesse did to Eugene, he's going to try to go after him.
Yeah.
This version of Sheriff Root.
This version. Yeah, no, I could see that. But the thing, going back to your point there, if this is going to happen, if we're talking about the fact that they're going to end up on the road eventually, what are you going to do with Hugo at that point? Hugo's not going to tag along for the road trip. So I mean,
and the bigger spoiler is I heard that W. Earl Brown got a new show.
Oh, well, good for him.
So good for him. Right. Love that guy. So
yeah,
excellent work. Again, one of the girls on Roadies is also one of the Sand Snakes. So anything can happen.
Yeah, true.
So hopefully and he's not like a huge part of this show. So maybe they can work around his schedule. Maybe he'll continue. I certainly hope so. I love him in the show. But if what happened, if I think I don't want to Bob Costas this. All right, let me explain to Bob Costas. I did this on the boards on Facebook. I mentioned Bob Costas. During the Australian Olympics, Bob Costas was the announcer of opening ceremonies. And they're doing the torch run around the stadium, and they keep handing it off. And they're coming up to the last person, and Bob Costas says, if it is who I think it is, you're all in for a treat. And then he never says who he thinks it is until they hand it off to the final person. And he goes, well, there she is. Well, fuck, dude, you never said anything. Commit. Right? Yeah, so that's what I think Bob Costas is going, if what happened, what I think is going to happen, blah, blah.
And then never say anything. I don't
mean to say that. What happens in the comic books happens. In this season, I'll understand how it happens.
Yeah. Yeah, because they've...
And I'm sure you can all read through everything we just talked about.
Yeah. Because, Jesse and Root had a very different relationship in the book. Very different relationship. So the fact that, Jesse having, spent time in Annville and having spent time with Hugo and Eugene, it's a whole different relationship. There is a friendship, a kind of cordiality between the two people there. So, I mean, there is a bonding between Eugene and Jesse in the book, but it's very different. Yeah, and it comes a lot later. A lot later, yeah. But anyway, so while the Asians are in there, they're having a chat, and he's asking if they can help get Eugene. And apparently, there is a way to get people back from hell, but it's very difficult. Yes, and it's very dangerous. But first, they have to get Genesis out. Yeah, that's their number one priority, is getting Genesis out. So, as they're getting ready to do the box or the music box and the can, we go back out to the party and the picnic, and we get the guy's penis dropped on his wound. And Miles talking to Emily, telling her that he has the best intentions, and it's maybe not legal, but it's the best thing for the town, so I'm going to help Kin and out. Yeah, he calls Jesse a criminal. He says, that Odin's going to pour money into the schools and back into the town and reinvest to make the town a better place. I think I think Miles is still drinking the Kool-Aid. Well, that, and after what happened to the Green Acres people. He's still in shock from watching them get brutally murdered in front of him. Yeah, that's possible. So maybe he thinks if he crosses Odin, the same thing's going to happen to him. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, he's got to be scared out of his life. He's not a strong-willed person. Not at all. No. But we see Tula playing a little catch with Brewski. And let me tell you what, this bloodhound is so cute. And here's the thing. With the first scene with the dog, when she actually picks it, I could have sworn she was standing in front of the pit bull cage. She was. They didn't. Yeah, it was poorly shown. Like she moved past the pit bull cage to the next one. Yeah. But they never showed Brewski in that shot. Just told his name. Because I'm thinking, oh, cool. She picked out a pit bull, nice little dog. And then I see her at this point. I'm thinking, oh, this is so cute. She's training this dog to be a service dog for the passed out uncle. This is gonna be great because she's gonna leave town. Is what I'm hoping. See, I had a different thought. I was thinking that, she needed something that was going to love her back, because Jesse certainly wasn't doing it. All right, that's fair. She just needed, Cassidy's not, has the emotional depth of a kiddie pool, and Jesse's just. Sorry, I laugh because I'm the same. Yeah, And Jesse's just not there. So I thought, and her uncle's drunk, so she ain't get nothing from him. But I thought she just needed somebody to kind of return some affection, even if it's just a dog and that loyalty.
All right, I'm down with that. I didn't see that. I really did. I saw the uncle thing playing out. So
yeah, I could have done that too.
You can take it any way you want it because you had no idea. It was like bail.
Yeah.
Like, why is she getting a dog? Okay, well now she's playing catch with the dog. So I was thinking she's training the dog.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So I like yours. Yours is way more heartfelt. Like you actually have a heart and think about that. Me, I was like, nah, it's for the drunk dude.
Yeah, because they really gave you nothing as to why Tulip was just out picking up a dog and playing catch with the dog.
Nothing at all. So we go back to the church, and Jesse learns that there were others that Genesis tried to imbibe, and it did not work, and that they exploded.
Yeah, and too bad. I wish I would have mentioned Tom Cruise again, just because we haven't had Tom Cruise mentioned since the 3rd episode.
It really would have been nice. But DeBlanc asked him point blank, you've had this power for a while. What the fuck have you done with it?
Exactly.
And there ain't much. I told people to be patient. Had a guy rip open his chest, and I sent the R-Space kid to hell. So 0 for 3.
Yeah, considering how gung-ho he was after that conversation with the angels when they first told him about Genesis, and he's like, "Oh, fuck this, I'm keeping it." He was all high and mighty. This thing chose me for a reason. And now to see him kind of singing that different tune, and especially after getting hit with that question, it's like, that's going to open your eyes, realize, okay, what have I actually done with this thing?
Right. And obviously it wasn't very much.
No.
But the crowd out front has grown and is getting antsy for some gun action. Somebody actually said, do you think there's going to be more shooting? Oh, I hope so.
I loved Odin's little speech as they're getting ready. He's like,
great.
Guys with the bludgeoning weapons are going to be up front. He's like, I don't watch.
Yeah, we're not there yet. Hold on. We're not quite there yet. Oh, yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. Yeah. I'm sorry.
I don't want you to think of yourselves as human shields, but you are human, and you're going to be soaking up a lot of bullets.
Right. You with bludgeoning instruments, billy clubs or otherwise. Those of you with clubs, billy or otherwise, was the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the don't think yourselves as women shields. And Donnie walks over to the trunk of his car and places his head inside, pulls out a gun, and pulls the trigger.
Yeah, that was unexpected. I was, and the way the whole thing was set up, like you see him look over and he sees his wife and she's smiling at him, and he just kind of like, he looks like he's kind of defeated. Yeah, he walks over to his car.
A guy that does not want to march up that hill.
Yeah.
Your army of one says, fuck you. Yeah. And I'm just going to walk away.
Yeah. He takes a sling off. He takes his jacket off. And it's like, okay, this is a guy that looks like he's just given up. Then he gets on his knees, pulls the trunk down over his head, and boom, you hear a shot. And it's like, holy shit, did Donnie just shoot himself?
And I said, bye-bye, Donnie, right there.
Yes,
bye-bye. See you later, Donnie.
One-nippled freak.
Hey, you one-nippled bastard. So back in the church, this scene, it jumped around a lot, but it was really kind of tight this episode.
Yeah.
But it's jumping around. It made sense, and there wasn't anything that was really out of place. So
yeah, there were a lot of quick, except for Tulip and the dog. That was the only thing that was out of place.
But it wasn't out of place in the context once you get to the end.
Yeah, no, once the payoff is given, yeah, then it's like, okay.
But for a while, I was thinking, what is this dog shit? Exactly.
Yeah.
Shit.
There you go. Yeah, there were a lot of jumps between inside the church, outside the church, inside the church, outside the church, but it all, it all worked.
Yeah. So they do the bit with the music box and the Blanc sing Genesis back in the can. Painless piece of cake.
And and then the hallucination of Eugene's like, oh, this is gonna hurt.
Right? The whole time he's like, "Oh man, you're ready for this thing to burst out of him and tear him up like alien, like," bleh. And he just goes, "Well, shit, that was easy."
And see, that line from Eugene is kind of what made me think that might have been Genesis.
All right,
maybe it would have hurt for Genesis to get pulled out of a human.
Okay, I'm with you now.
He's bonded to a human consciousness. Who knows what kind of pain that would be to be ripped out of, that kind of an attachment that you had.
You turned me over. I'm on your side now. Did I miss the thing I wanted to talk about? I don't think so.
All right.
So yeah, it destroys. So the agents are done.
They're satisfied.
Yeah. And really, if they get Eugene out of hell, series over.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
I don't think they had any intention of trying to get Eugene out of hell. They wanted Genesis back. They got Genesis back. Fuck you, Jesse Custer.
Thanks.
We never said we were going to help you get him out. We said it's hard. We said we'd look into it, but that's about all we're going to do.
Unlike with Kin Cannon, no verbal agreement.
Yeah. Get it in writing.
Get it in writing, damn it. So let's see. They get the can. So now bullets are riddling the church.
Well, actually, not yet. No.
Oh yeah, what do I?
No. Yeah. Well, before the bullets start riddling the church, Jesse, after the angels kind of like, oh yeah, we'll look into it. Then he starts getting pissed off at them, and the can bust open.
Oh yeah. I could have skipped over the whole Genesis return.
Yeah.
So the can busts open.
Yeah.
And Genesis goes right back where she came from. After Jesse says, who's going to stop you, or something to that effect, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And so now Jesse can, but he doesn't stop him from leaving the church.
No. But this poses a new problem for the angels now, because now the one place that Genesis called home has been destroyed. What else are you going to put him in? Maybe he doesn't want to go into another different can.
They said there's a different plan.
They said there's the other option.
The other option. I believe that other option has to do with rat water.
I am inclined to agree with you on that one.
All right. I think everybody should understand that rat water is a big part of next week. We can't wait.
And we're not just talking about the bottle of whiskey that Jesse's been drinking this entire episode.
No, not just the whiskey. We're going to town.
Yes.
So so they leave, and Jesse's kind of left to his own, and Quinn Cannon and the boat Kin Cannon. God damn it!
Oh, one other thing, really quick, is after Genesis popped back out of the can, Eugene was gone.
Yeah, Eugene disappeared. All right, so you're making a lot of sense with the Eugene was Genesis thing. So I'm on board with your theory 100%. Hundo.
Cool.
Okay. You win.
Okay. Well, I wasn't trying to win, but
for those of you keeping track at home, that's 1 point for Adam. I have 0 points, but I haven't tried to make any.
I wasn't trying to win anything. I was just trying to strengthen my opinion.
Hey, you got me on your side on that one. I was like, I never saw it that way. Okay, I like that. I'm going to take it. It was like the guys that convinced me.
And this goes to your point about the mascot.
Which we're getting to right now.
We're about to come up to right now. Yeah.
So all the townsfolk are outside lined up as the church is getting riddled with bullets, and they're all watching, including the mascot. And again, we've seen the mascot in every episode. He's shown up at some point, walking a dog, doing something.
Yeah, getting punched in the first episode. Yeah.
So I don't even know who brought up the question. I thought it was Melody. I think
it was Melody. Yeah.
Melody,
well, I don't know who brought up the question. But she
made a comment.
She made a comment. Yes.
Yeah, she made a comment, and Melody will be doing our American Horror Story podcast. Made a comment in one of the groups about she had a theory about the mascot, and I called her Bob Costas and said, be bold and say what you think, because I think the mascot is God on vacation. And she was like, yes, that's totally what I thought. Yeah, see, Bob Costas, right? So she takes my idea, calls it her own.
Yeah.
Said, I totally had it first, but no, I called you out. It's my theory. And it's probably way not true, but I love the idea that the mascot is God just watching.
And it's entirely possible, knowing what I know of the comic books, and again, not spoiling anything. You've got this power that the angels are describing as by being possibly more powerful than God.
Something that was never before.
That was never meant to exist. Yeah, right. And what better way to watch it than to go to where it's hanging out and see what the guy who's wielding this power is going to do with it.
Right. Perfect disguise, town mascot.
Yeah.
Going
forward with the story, if the story starts going in the direction of the book, with what Jesse sets out to do, then this will be very interesting to see that God has been this close to him before.
All right. Option number 2.
Okay.
Ready for this?
Go for it.
The man in the white suit is the man in the mascot uniform.
Yeah, I think if it's who we're saying it is, if it's the character we think it is, and not just a member of this organization, then I think he'd be way too proud to do something like that.
Okay, then one of his lackeys, perhaps.
Possibly one of the lackeys.
All right, so there's a couple of theories on the mascot, and it's probably just Seth Rogen going, put the fucking mascot and everything. It'll be funny.
Yeah,
and we're going to read way too much into it. Like, what did the log mean in Twin Peaks? Didn't mean shit. It was a fucking log. So,
oh yeah,
go on. It's just a mascot. I'm sure it's not God on vacation or the man in the white suit watching or the cowboy or any of that. I'm sure none of those things are true.
Yeah. We may never know. We may find out sometime that it was God or was somebody from from the Grail Corporation.
You said the G word.
Yeah, well, they've mentioned it before in the show.
All right. Yeah, I guess they did mention it once.
Yeah, when we saw the man in the white suit, Tulip gave her the map and it says the Grail Corporation.
That's right. All right, you're right. Okay, fair. So it has been brought up. We're not spoiling anything. Joe. I don't want to call you out, Joe. I love you, Joe, but man, you made that hard on us. So as the church is getting riddled, somebody sneaks in the back door, and I, of course, like everyone else in the free world, thought it was Cassidy, and it's not. It's Donnie.
It is Donnie.
Donnie, back from the dead, not dead, deaf.
Yeah, well, we didn't know that right away until Jesse starts trying to use the power on him.
And no worky, no heary.
Exactly.
So that's awesome.
Yeah. Good on Donnie for figuring out that if he can't hear Jesse can't make him do shit.
Correct. So good on him for finding the loophole. There's always a loophole.
Yeah, there is. And I would not have expected Donnie to be the one to figure that out.
No, not at all. But, give it to him.
But yeah, the guy was willing to
never see him put it together.
Eardrums to be able to get the drop on Jesse.
Right. And he found a way that it's less painful, I would think, than like gouging yourself with an ice pick.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Good on Donnie.
So he can't hear Jesse say, drop the gun. So he gets pistol whipped and wakes up in front of Odin and the gang in the church. And Odin is talking about the great Texans at the Alamo and how they're all heroes and they're also fucking losers.
Yeah, because they all died.
They all died. They lost. And that's very true. And Jesse kind of laughs and says, I can't figure out what happened because you came in here and I told you to serve God and you said you'd serve God. And Odin says, I have served God with great devotion.
Yeah.
And I was like, ah, ha, ha, ha. And he said, I serve the meat god.
The god of meat, yeah.
The god of meat. All right, so the god of meat, I hope, is real.
I so hope it's real.
See it so soon because, man, that's great.
Yeah.
For a man that loves his slaughterhouse, a god of meat, you can only imagine what it would look like, folks. And
and if you don't want to imagine what it looks like, go pick up a copy of Salvation, the future trade paperback that takes place with where they introduce Odin Kincannon, and enjoy it because it's a very different Odin than what you're used to seeing in the show,
and a very different Outlash.
Yeah.
So because of this, Jesse says, "Well, tell you what, why don't you give me one more Sunday?" And I tried to bring this church to God, but I couldn't do it. So I'm going to bring God to this church. And if I don't like what he has to say, I'm going to denounce the bastard right there on the spot.
That's a very bold claim for Jesse Custer to make. But, desperate act of a desperate man.
Desperate act of a desperate man. And do you recall, there was never a time when he tried this nonsense in a church, right? Because we weren't in the church long enough for this kind of nonsense.
No. There was a time where something like this was tried in a church, but it wasn't Jesse, and it was a whole different thing.
All right. So they're gleaning it from the comic, but not quite accurate to the comic. Correct.
Yeah. Who knows if this will actually work? Jesse may use the power to call out God and nobody shows up, because
or maybe Tom Cruise shows up and we're all fucked.
Because we have no.
I swear to God, if he calls him and Tom Cruise showed up, would you not drop your shit laughing?
I would. I'd have to pause it. I'd laugh for a few minutes. I'd have to rewind it, watch it again, and laugh even more. And then I'd continue on.
Can we start a preacher hashtag for Tom Cruise for God, please? That'd be great. So then we cut to Tulip.
Yeah, and we finally get the payoff.
Finally get the resolution on the dog. It's for Cassidy.
It is.
Now, is it a bloodhound for a funny joke?
I think it was just because it was big and it had a bit more blood than some of the other dogs.
It seemed to be the biggest dog in the pen, and it's probably easier than wrangling a cow.
Yeah.
Somebody said, why she didn't, she's a person of the underworld. Why wouldn't you just feed him a criminal? Yeah. Bodies are hard to get. I mean, no matter if you're a criminal mastermind or not, a dog from the, shelter is way easier to procure than, a bum.
Well, that and even a bum, somebody might go looking for.
Right. Nobody's going to look for a dog you adopted. You're going to be like, dog died.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And most people don't even know she adopted a dog, so nobody's going to be like, oh, what happened to that dog you had?
So very sad, big reactions to the dog on message boards. Nobody was very happy that they killed a dog to get Cassidy better. But you all love Cassidy so much. Yeah. We had to get him healthy. I
mean, this isn't nearly as bad as, Stannis Baratheon burning Shireen at the stake for, good fortune in the Battle of Winterfell. But,
I believe that's the dick move of the year. Yeah, last year. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a dog, animals are cool, all life is sacred, whatever, but Cassidy
dog lives matter.
Dog lives matter. Hashtag dogs life matters. Yeah, Cassidy needs blood.
Really soon.
Cassidy needs nourishment. He needs something because who knows how badly he was burned up before something got him out of the fire in the last episode.
So at least, he's around and he'll be back next episode. I'm sure he'll be healthy as a dog.
They couldn't kill Cassidy off.
Somebody said he had dog eyes or something like that. It was the sickest comment I'd heard all day. It was great.
Well, maybe he's probably got dog breath afterwards.
Ouch. Could he lick his own balls afterwards? All right, enough of the dog. Sorry about the dog, folks. I don't mean it. So Root takes Jesse away in handcuffs, and I read some opinions that they didn't understand why Jesse was in handcuffs. You can't shoot people's dicks off.
Yeah, if anything else, aggravated assault, assault with a deadly weapon.
Even if you're defending your own property and you shoot a guy's dick off, they're going to take you downtown.
Well, yeah, but he'll be acquitted, like that guy who just got acquitted in Texas for killing a hooker because she wouldn't have sex with him.
Well, he paid.
Well, yeah, and under the law, he was recovering stolen property, which means you can protect yourself with deadly force, or you can go after this person with deadly force to get your property back.
Because they made a verbal agreement, and some of that shit goes back to the 1800s.
Yes, and this is just life imitating art.
Incredible. So that's why I'm sure that's why, and it might have been for his own protection. Either way, they had to get Jesse out of there. The thing that bugs me is Root never brought Eugene up with Jesse. Maybe it'll happen in the ride to the station. I hope.
Yeah,
they've started episodes right where they've left off before. And I'd like to think that, he's a little at least concerned, considering he was so concerned with Odin.
Yeah.
But then we got nothing in the resolution. No, hey, where's Eugene?
Yeah.
That would have been a better ending line. Just, hey, where's Eugene? Oh, shit. I forgot I called you about my hallucination.
Yeah.
But we don't get that. Instead, for our ending, we get more confusion.
Yeah, we get Homer Simpson.
Yeah.
That's what I named this guy.
All right. So Homer's working at the nuclear power plant, and the danger sign comes on, and I'm having an ear problem. And Homer hits a button, and the pressure seems to release, and all is right with the world.
Yep. Then he goes and sits
The
down.
end.
Yeah. What the fuck was that about?
What? All right, so we know the machine's got to have something to do with the pipes they've shown coming out of the ground with the vents, right?
Yeah.
Got to be connected.
Yeah.
So there's a problem underneath Odin. So if they weren't going to destroy the church with their barrage, I think we might figure out how the church goes.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. There's something. Yeah, there's definitely something going on under the feet of the people of the city of Annville. But I mean, who knows what is actually going on? You know, we know there's sinkholes. We know that there's something going on. So, yeah, there's something definitely fishy in the town, and I think we'll see a resolution of that here in the next 2 episodes.
Right. With the 2 episodes to go, we're not going to find out any resolution on the God front or the Genesis front. Believe me, we're way far away from that. But the church being destroyed, it could very well happen in the next 2 episodes. I wouldn't be surprised at all if it puts them on the road towards Carlos next season. Explosion may also take out a few characters that are non-consequential, I guess, inconsequential to events on the road. Because if you leave Annville, what good is Emily? What good is Miles? What good is Root? What good is Ken Cannon? You know, Donnie's already deaf. He's no more of a problem. So the problems should come. They're going to come from the outside world. We haven't even seen them yet, really. I think we had a season that was really just set up and get you geared up for the coming calamity that is Preacher.
Yeah, you know, they drew a little bit from the first story, you know, with the story Gone to Texas, which is introducing the characters, Jesse getting Genesis, and setting them on the road for the rest of the story. Which I can't say this enough. If you haven't read the book, do yourself a favor and pick up a copy, because it is truly one of the greatest comic books, one of the greatest graphic novels ever produced.
It really is, folks. And you're going to have, a whole year without Preacher. So read the books, catch yourself up. It's a long series. There's 9 graphic novels, I think.
9 or 10,
Each graphic novel is about 8 comics or 10 comics. It's long. It's a lengthy read, and it'll take you some time. But grab those trades. You can get them digital. You can go to your local comic book store and get them. Get people some money that are working hard, and
exactly. Go get a local comic book store. If you don't know where it is, you can look for it online.
I saw one of the guys on the boards. I think his name was Ron Pack. He made some Preacher action figures that
I did see that. Yeah.
Dope. Yeah. And I want them for right here. Right here. That's where they need to go. Right there, buddy. You send them out. I will put them right there.
Nice.
That's where they belong. But yeah, shout out for that, because those things looked amazing. And I know it's the end of the show and nobody's probably listening still. If you are, thanks. But yeah, so that was a much better episode than the one before it. And I'm ready for this thing to get wrapped up in 2 weeks. I wish there was more episodes, but I think this story in the Annville that they're telling is ready to be finished.
Yeah, considering how much time was spent in Annville in the comic books, we've spent a lot more time there than we ever expected to.
And if it's going to continue in Annville, then I expect a barrage of people to show up in this finale.
Yeah, if they're going to keep it in Annville, then shit's going to have to get really, really weird in that town in order to facilitate some of the storylines that that took place in the books.
It is, yeah. I don't even know what to say. I think we will definitely get into the guy with the tattoo on his forearm that shot Jesse's dad.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be resolved. If
I don't think we'll get that by the end of this season. I think that's definitely next season kind of toy.
Yeah.
I think they're going to spend if. All right, let's speculate now. So it's late in the episode. I'm speculating wildly. So if you're not interested in hearing it, turn it off. So if the church blows up and we leave Annville, then we're gonna have to see Jesse's family.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even if we don't leave the town, they're gonna have to come into play sooner or later.
And I'm almost positive the guy with the tattoo is Jody Ortiz. It has to be the same mean old lady. It's got to be mom or grandma. And God, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I mean, again, that was a great storyline in the books, and again, with the way they're doing the show, I don't expect to see it, page for page, shot for shot. But even if they're doing something similar, that's going to be a hell of a story, because that was, I mean, one of the most emotional, moments in the book when, I'm not going to say what happened, but I think you know where I'm going with that.
It's a very emotional moment.
Yeah.
And with Earl Brown possibly departing, perfect amount of money for Clint Howard.
No, yeah, true.
So go get Clint. Go get Clint. Food court. All right, you got anything else on this one?
No, I think that's about it. Yeah, like I said, a lot better than last episode. Even without the action, I think just the dialogue of the storyline of this episode was, a lot better than last week's, at least as far as moving the story around and getting us closer to where we need to go.
Yeah, it's tight right now. It's tight with losing Cassidy and Eugene for a couple episodes. It needed to really stay focused on what was important, and I think they got that. They nailed that in this episode, especially.
Yeah, they nailed that as well as Jesse nailed Clive's penis. Just boom, homed right in on that.
So next week we return to Ratwater.
I can't wait for that.
I'm excited for that. Yeah.
Because if there's only 2 episodes left and we're not getting the cowboy every episode, they're gonna have to wrap up a story.
But they got to give us at least one more bit on the Man in White somewhere before the end of this. I don't think they're just showing one clip of him randomly in the middle of the seat. I mean, that was the beginning. That was like episode 2 or 3.
I think it might have been 3.
Right. The Killers was, or the Cowboy was 2. Sorry,
Cowboy was 2. I think the Man in the White suit was 3.
1881, and then we had the Man in White.
Yeah.
So it was the 3rd episode. So it's going way back.
Yeah. So maybe we'll get him for the season finale. We'll get a little bit more of the Man in White suit.
That would be a nice intro. Like I said, next week, hopefully the intro is about 30 minutes of Ratwater.
Well, yeah, I mean,
there's going to be a big chunk of next week's episode that takes place in the Old West.
Well, it's going to depend on how far they're going to continue the story and how much of it they're actually going to show. If they show the Cowboys' adventures outside of Ratwater, then you might need some serious budget consideration and things like that. If we show,
I don't think they'll need to do that to achieve the purpose. If the purpose of Ratwater is, and again, this is a spoiler, perhaps, but if the purpose is to send the cowboy to hell to get him and Eugene out of there, then it's got to happen quickly. So I don't think his exploits out of Ratwater will be that relevant.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we really need to see
where he's at now. With he had to get the medicine back. He didn't.
Yeah,
they died,
and they can even explain. They can even explain what happened in hell with some dialogue. You don't have to sit there and show what happened. You could clearly show it with just a couple lines of dialogue. Fiore and DeBlanc explaining the backstory to Jesse or something like that. Who knows?
And they seem to be headed that way.
Yeah,
because they have a coin toss. And did you see that extended scene?
No, I didn't.
There's the extended scene of them talking about we don't ever do this, but why don't we flip a coin? Heaven will go or heads will go to heaven, and tails will just go to hell. And they're like, all right, I haven't done a coin toss in a long time. And they flip the coin and hell. So
nice.
Yeah, so that's on the website. You can check it out. It's on AMC's page. Little extended scene. So that's what we get to look forward to next week.
Yeah.
And that should be a really good time. We got 2 more episodes to go. And then we'll break into a little bit of, like we said, Rising Stars. If you're not a fan of that comic, you have 2 weeks, and that's not a lot of time to read it.
Yeah, I mean, if you just a teaser, I think the first trade covers the first major storyline.
Up to Chicago.
That was a hell of a story.
Yeah. And they've been talking about doing Rising Stars as like a 3-part movie, with it going from the first to Chicago, and then after Chicago, finish it up in 2 films.
Yeah,
So if they did that, I could see it. I always thought Rising Stars should have been like maybe a 15 episode series.
yeah.
One off kind of thing. It would have been great.
Like some of these like graphic novels, these complete stories, like say Why the Last Man or Transmetropolitan, Preacher,
Why?
are stories that would be better served in a TV series than a movie, because you got to try and cram 60 issues into a 2.5 hour movie, or try to
Why
make it.
hasn't anybody optioned why yet?
Oh, there's been plans to do it for years. Like Shia LaBeouf was attached to it for a while.
Really? No, he would have been horrible.
Well, this was back before he had all of his huge breakdowns. This is back when people still liked him.
All right.
Like right off the heel of like Eagle Eye or whatever the hell that movie was.
And unfortunately, Once Upon a Time ruined the chance to see one of my favorite books, which is Fables. And Fables would have been so much better than Once Upon a Time.
Well, there was even talks of doing that, and the thing is they were going to do it on ABC Family.
What?
Yeah, ABC Family was in talks to do Fables, and I think that eventually just became Once Upon a Time, because ABC Family is not the right place for Fables.
HBO, Showtime, possibly Skinamax.
Hell, even AMC, where you can get away with some darker shit. Because Fables is not a kid-friendly story.
I was watching something the other night, and it shocked me. What was it? Oh, I was watching Mr. Robot.
Mm.
Do you watch Mr. Robot?
I have not. I've heard it's really good.
Holy crap. Watch Mr. Robot.
Okay.
Yeah, catch up.
All right.
So and that's what I'm doing. I'm not caught up yet. I'm still behind, but I'm in season 1, and it's on USA.
Yeah.
They drop the F-bomb like twice an episode, but they kind of bleep it out.
Uh-huh.
But it's I mean, every other word is fine. But it was so hard to imagine that they would drop that. And I was like, is this on some other network that I don't know about? Because like USA doesn't, do that kind of thing. But apparently they do. And yeah, Mr. Robot, yeah, awesome. Right. It is a complete mind fuck. And you won't be right in the head afterwards. And don't drink cough syrup or anything like that. I highly recommend a lot of marijuana. It really, really helped. It's
Christian Slater's that, isn't he?
Yeah, Christian Slater's in it, and you will feel very Fight Clubby about the whole thing. Okay. So yeah, it's like Fight Club meets Silicon Valley.
That's an interesting combination right there. Okay.
Right? It's really good. So watch Mr. Robot, and I'd podcast about it, but I wouldn't even know where to fucking begin. It is twisted. All right, so we're out of here. That's going to do it for tonight. We will be back next Monday with episode 9. One more to go after that. Next Tuesday, don't forget Fantasy Monkeys. If you're a fantasy football fan, come check it out. That should be a hoot and a half. You got anything else, sir?
I do not.
All right, until next week, folks. Love many, trust few, and do harm to no one.